It's my journey, it's your journey. You need my help and I need yours. 'Cause we are
Saint Rupert, Apostle of Salzburg and Herald of the Faith. There is a beauty and power in the testimony of the saints, those holy women and men who have stood as pillars of faith in every generation. Their witness summons us to deeper reverence for the sacraments, and their lives echo through the centuries, nourishing the Church's tradition with stories of courage, humility, and evangelical zeal. At Journeys of Faith, we have seen firsthand, through our pilgrimages, studies, and the legacy of Bob and Penny Lord, how the saints are not distant legends, but companions for our Christian journey. Saint Rupert and the Gift of Salt. Saint Rupert's mission in the lands of present-day Austria was guided not only by zeal for the gospel, but by a providential understanding of the people's needs. As he made his apostolic journey into the region of Iuvavum, what we now cherish as Salzburg, Rupert quickly recognized something remarkable. The rich salt springs bubbling up from the earth. The gift of salt, so simple yet precious, would become the bedrock of his evangelizing approach and a symbol of Christ's love that preserves and purifies. In the ancient world, salt was a treasure. It seasoned food, preserved life, and was sometimes even used as currency. Saint Rupert, graced with apostolic wisdom, saw these salt springs not merely as mineral wealth, but as an opportunity to bless and unite his new flock. With paternal care, he worked to restore abandoned salt works and taught the local people to harvest and trade their white gold. Through this industry, Salzburg blossomed, families prospered, the poor were fed, and the community grew strong, knit together by the fruits of Rupert's selfless labor. This holy bishop's gift of salt was more than pragmatism. It carried a profound catechetical message. Just as the Lord called his disciples the salt of the earth, Rupert's service reminded all that Christian life is meant to season society with holiness, truth, and charity. He modeled care for both body and soul, providing for material needs while leading families to the greater treasures of the faith. In every salt spring, Rupert's followers could read a testimony to divine providence and the sanctifying presence of God in daily life. Those who venerated Saint Rupert looked to him not only as a builder of cities, but as one who hid spiritual grace in the humble gifts of creation. The salt he shared pointed hearts to Christ, who purifies, preserves, and calls us to bear witness, quietly but powerfully, amid the world. Saint Rupert, known fondly as the Apostle of Salzburg, is one such radiant example. He rose up in a time of spiritual darkness and uncertainty, inspired not by worldly ambition, but by a love for Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament and a burning passion for souls. Through prayer, sacrificial endurance, and tireless missionary work, Saint Rupert transformed the landscape of faith in Austria and Bavaria. His life is woven with miracles, heroic acts of evangelization, and a deep Marian devotion, all hallmarks of authentic Catholic spirituality. As you join us in this reflection, we invite you to enter the story of Saint Rupert as a living form of catechesis, a bridge from the Church's rich past to our present hunger for hope, tradition, and renewal. May High. Trials, opposition, and perseverance in faith. Saint Rupert's journey as the Apostle of Salzburg was not marked by comfort or worldly acclaim, but by adversity and the cross. When he arrived in the heart of pagan Austria, darkness seemed to cloud every path. Local chieftains eyed him with suspicion. The people, bound by ancestral rites and intimidated by the stranglehold of superstition, mocked and resisted his every effort to proclaim Christ. Time and again, Rupert encountered doors slammed shut and hearts hardened against the liberating light of the gospel. Yet, like so many missionary saints, Rupert's faith burned brighter in the face of hardship. Anchored in unshakable trust in the Lord's providence and nourished by the Holy Eucharist, he drew strength for the battle. The Mass became his anchor, the sacraments his weapons. He persevered in prayer, sought the intercession of Our Lady, and offered his sufferings in union with the sacrifice of Jesus. Rupert's confidence rested not in his own eloquence, but in the grace poured out through the Church's maternal care. Even as he began to gather a small band of converts, enemies of the faith intensified their threats. He was driven from some towns, his sacred vessels desecrated, his humble oratories razed to the ground. Through each trial, St. Rupert clung more fiercely to Christ's promise. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10. In his perseverance, Rupert testified, by word and example, that the seed of faith, watered by tears and steadfastness, would one day yield a harvest for God's glory. His witness continues to encourage all who labor amid spiritual opposition to stand firm, trusting always in the triumph of Christ's love. Conclusion. Embracing the legacy of Saint Rupert, as we reflect on the courageous witness of Saint Rupert, Apostle of Salzburg, we see the timeless call to let Christ be known and loved in every corner of our lives. Through hardship, exile, and missionary zeal, Rupert's testimony beckons us to bring the light of the gospel wherever God sends us. His tireless devotion to the sacraments, especially the Holy Eucharist, and his reverence for the sacred mysteries provide us a blueprint for living out our Catholic faith with conviction and joy. At Journeys of Faith, our own pilgrimage of evangelization draws richly from examples like Saint Rupert. His story reminds us that the saints are not distant figures from another age, but rather guiding friends who intercede for us and show us the path to holiness, one rooted in fidelity to the Church, love for Our Lady, and ardent reverence for Jesus truly present in the Blessed Sacrament. May we too answer the call to be heralds of the faith in our own families, parishes, and communities. Through the intercession of Saint Rupert and all the saints, let us go forth, bearing witness with courage, reverence, and deep trust in the promises of Christ. Whether you're seeking to deepen your understanding of the saints, enhance your family's prayer life, or explore the rich traditions of Catholic worship, may Journeys of Faith offers extensive resources to support your spiritual journey. Through their books, prayer cards, and educational materials, Bob and Penny Lord's mission of evangelization through media continues to help Catholics worldwide grow in their relationship with the communion of saints. Explore their comprehensive collection.
It's your journey, but we won't make the trip alone, 'cause we know God will lead us home. It's our journey of faith. It's our